Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you my failure of analysis. Now, you might be asking if you've looked at my previous takes on this. Monster, what do you mean your failure of analysis? You've talked about it. You were losing your mind that this is insane. You've talked about Chaos Demon should have been winning uh, throughout Pariah for quite some time. You've talked about all of this. It's happening. What do you mean? Well, sometimes you get the right answer, but the wrong steps to get there. That's why your teacher always wanted you to show your work. What could I have meant? Well, some of the things that I said about Legion of Excess, rules wise, is still true. Well, it's actually very true. These rules, cranked, just absolutely cranked, okay? But the other thing that I didn't really think about until I was toying with my Crusher Stampede list lately. I've said this across videos, but I've just been putting more speed into it. And then there you go, right? There's the thing. I'm going to say something obvious that everybody always says, but you kind of forget if you're not necessarily the speediest of armies. Alright, everybody say it with me now. Three, two, one. Movement wins games. Right, okay. So, yeah, movement wins games, and when you are terribly fast, it makes things easier. Such as what I said for Star Shatter Arsenal, as to why I said it wasn't going to be too hot, or as hot as people expected. You would say, look at the wins, and I'd say, look at the amount of people playing it. that doesn't match up. Meanwhile, you have Legion of Excess. Look at the number of people playing it and the number of wins. That's a bit more insane. Uh, but back to Star Shatter's what I said for Star Shatter, and the fact that if you're scared of 3DDAs, you're going to take something that's fast, probably infantry, and gonna go touch the blast vehicle. Problem solved. Or you're going to have something that is going to pop the T9 vehicle. Problem solved. Slaanesh has one of those in excess. Uh, and the other one is where I said in my Grotmus review after some weeks that it's struggling. That you don't have many things in Slaanesh Demons that can do a lot of damage to tanks outside of Shalaxi. And looking at the list, looks like most people don't need Shalaxi because they found something kind of funny in the fact of a thing I've talked about for the other Demons detachments that I didn't quite give the same grace over here. Legion of Excess lists are starting to take. Well, let's look at Gonzalo's list. Also, this is funny. The list name is hilarious. You can go get that translated as well. From what I could read and then double checked with somebody else, yeah, it's pretty funny. But going on through here, you have the regular thing: Celeste, Contorted Epitome, the Mask of Slaanesh, Keeper of Secrets, double of those things, Torment Bringer, Unexalted Secret Chariot, False Majesty. Right, we've seen that. Demonettes, Fiends, Soul Grinders. We're looking at Soul Grinders, which two Soul Grinders is cheaper than bringing Shalaxi. And also, back to the speed and the monster thing. All of the Demons Grotbist attachments gave you a way to move things through terrain features, including things like Shalaxi or Soul Grinders. Now, Soul Grinders also have the neat little terrain features 4 inches or less in height, so you don't really need it too much, but they have Iron Claws. So, guess what? You have your tank busting there. You also have Scream of Despair, which is devastating wounds, sustained hits 1, 24 inches, 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, 9, 2, 2. Yeah, that's actually pretty okay. And you have a stratagem over here that can make it so that a Slaanesh unit can be -1 to hit, possibly not be hit in shooting, Move the damage over to some demonettes. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Yeah, uh, Legion of Excess is a bit excessive. If demonettes tying up whatever, oh, things that got tied up. You also have fiends. While an enemy unit, excluding vehicle and titanic units, is within 6 inches of this unit, each time a model in that enemy unit makes a melee attack, -1 to hit. And each time a model in that unit takes a desperate escape test, subtract 1 from that test. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good. 12 inches of movement on those things. Keepers 14 inches of movement for a T10, 4 up invulnerable save, 18 wound, -1 hit, 5 up field, no pain. Monster that can now go through walls and has a fair amount of attacks. Yeah, yeah. Also improves the AP of Slaanesh units around for melee. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good, and things that got tied up that won't actually do too much damage to demonettes, like Rhino or something, are basically a vehicle, right? Probably doesn't have good melee. You have your seductive gambit. You give up the fights first. Let them punch you a little bit. It'll be fine. What they might pick up 1 or 2 demonettes at most on average. Then you re-roll your hits and wounds with demonettes that have roughly 30 attacks and devastating wounds. Okay, sounds pretty nice. Sounds pretty nice. Yeah, yeah. Legion of Excess. It is pretty darn good. And here's the other thing, right? I don't even know what you could possibly hit to make it um I don't want to say fair because I'm not of the opinion that when things are doing really good, they're unfair. I don't know. I don't know what you change, to be honest. I don't know what you change without completely neutering the detachment. You could always say increase the points and then make demonettes like 110, 120, but like all of demons is this is absurd cost. So yeah, maybe if you don't want 60 demonettes for 600 points, that's an angle, I guess. I don't even know where you crack down on this. Or maybe you don't need to because here's my other thing. I am of the opinion that metagames are healthiest when it is a very food web type of situation. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, that thing beats that thing, that beats that thing, but oh, it beats that thing. Not necessarily like a dominant 2 or 3 armies, or I speak from other video games and trading card games, into which it's like, yeah, everybody knows that those have really good rules over there, and there's nothing I have that can beat that. No, I mean, well, Legion of Excess is good into just because they're right here. Chaos Knights, right? And Chaos Knights are good into, let's just say, the Blood Angels. And then Blood Angels are good into Chaos Space Marines. But then lose hard again to Legion of Excess. Like, that's the type of thing that I like. Now, not to say that it's completely unwinnable in those matchups, because you throw in a funky soul grinder or two, and then all of a sudden you got your tank popping. You throw in a keeper or two, you're picking up infantry units left and right, and they can't do that to you because you are T10 at -1 to hit. And even if they do get a wound through, you put it somewhere else, and then it's going to get healed back by you. Or is it the Infernal Enrapturous I'm thinking about? Okay, yes, they're doing. We're still doing the mortal wound one. My bad. Um, for a feel no pain versus mortal wounds. I'm just saying, on average, shouldn't we be switching over to? Is it the Infernal Enrapturous? Infernal Enrapturous. Like, yeah, I guess the 4 up versus mortal wounds is more appealing if you think you're going to take more than 4 damage at a turn. And I guess that's better than the possible ones of the D3s. Yeah, I guess. Um, but hey, maybe you just bring another unit of Demoness just to do it one time for the fun time, right? And then when this goes out, it's out. But yeah, we're looking at speed, 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 relative speed, but heavy hitting relative speed. Also have devastating wounds, sustained hits on the Scream of Despair. So yeah, Legion of Excess. Not to be that guy into which you say, well, I wish all the armies had this. This would be perfect. But genuinely, right? All of this plays kind of perfectly into Slaanesh Demons. Not even from a, oh, yeah, you just want everybody to have a busted one. Get them. But if we think for a second, this plays into what the units have to offer almost perfectly, right? Somebody sat down, looked at it, and said, all right, for a little bit of flavor, we call it a seductive gambit. They have devastating wounds, give them reroll hits, or give them reroll wounds somehow, right? That'd be nice. That's a dev wound. That's a Slaanesh thing. Okay. Uh, they're already too fast, so he can't go with advance and charge. What about fallback and charge? Fallback and charge is fine. They need movement. They're like the movement demons. All right, cool. We'll do that. Well, they also hit for like jack shit. What if we give them +1 to wound, +1 hit? Fair enough. You know, Thieves of Pain is pretty cool. That goes over there. Overwhelming excess. Surprised that that's not Zinch. They literally just said, "Hey, changeling, yoink!" Like I don't know why that didn't go over there. Um, but this was somebody that kind of understood both a unique point of the balance and what Slaanesh demons do, right? So that's what I mean where I say I would like something like this more often. Now, uh, going back through some of the detachments, they are closer than they get credit for. Some of them just didn't age as well, right? Not to say that there's insane power creep, but I still look at Failhammer Sea Toast. I'm not a CSM player, but every time I'm just like, hey, CSM players, you should be playing this, boom, 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 boom. And it has pretty good rules, like pretty solid rules, but nobody wants to go touch it. Okay? It's not the new thing, it's not the shiny thing. And until you have somebody walking up with the Emperor's Children playing Failhammer Sea Toast, people won't catch on to it. That's just the way things go over here. Things get overshadowed, never touch it. So for Legion of Excess, I don't even want to say that it needs too much of a nerf. But again, I'm still that person that says, how about instead of nerfing everything constantly, we just make everything else relatively good? And if everything's relatively good, the game is good. Do I like Double Oath Gilliman with fucking Oath of Moment Space Marines? No. Can't say I'm a fan of it. But if you have that over there, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit quiet about some of the things in Assimilation Swarm Tyranids. People will figure it out eventually. Um, have that over there, that over there. You have whatever guards you're about to do to people. I think my winner of the Elves Codex so far is Aspect Host. I believe that's what it's called. I'm not quite sure on the guard one. I think Bridgehead Strike is still good, and Combined Regiment is good, but every time I look up, somebody's like, no, this is the best guard detachment out of that book. So, I don't know. No, but I say that to say that if there's a lot of that across the way, and then other ones for flavor or possibly equal power, it'll be fine. Things are looking pretty healthy right now across what things are winning and what things are not. So I don't want to see Legion of Excess take the same hammer that Star Shatter did when Star Shatter definitely didn't need it. But yeah, Legion of Excess. If you're playing it, I hope you're having fun. And if you are playing against it, I hope you know what to do versus very fast models that will punch you. What's the answer to that? I'm not a pro player, so my advice for that probably won't be sufficient. Uh, but what I will say is, hmm, what will I say about that? Speed and punching you. What is something that every unit has? I'm sorry, every army has that could stop that? Hmm. I think my yes. Here we go. Here's my thing. Here, all right. From a perspective of remember most of my videos, or all of my videos, I aim to speak at just playing with your friends type shit. Maybe the local game store game occasionally, right? That's my level of insight. But for this, I'll just say I hope you become familiar with actually trading things. That's what I would say for current Legion of Excess. That's my hot take. Yep, that's all I got. That's all I got. I don't know. I need more reps into it to figure out what would be a consistent answer, but I just hope you're familiar with trading. So, yeah. If you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.